Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our introduction to our 2013 calendar of sailings. For the last 8 years, Orion Expedition Cruises have been bringing you some exciting destinations, and this year, 2013, is going to be no different. Kicking off the year in February with a great new program, a golfing expedition in New Zealand. This incorporates some of the world's best golf courses, Cape Kidnappers, Kauri Cliffs, Royal Wellington, and also not to forget that we will have our regular expedition content in the great outdoors of New Zealand. We've got two great voyages coming up through the Melanesian region this year. We have our South Pacific Splendour and our Melanesian Discovery. The Melanesian region brings you up close and personal with some great villages, really personal experiences getting in amongst the people of this region. Some of the highlights include climbing Mount Yasur, the active volcano, and visiting the site of the World Discoverer shipwreck in Roderick Bay in the Solomon Islands. And continuing on from Melanesia brings us into Papua New Guinea. Now, since 2006, Orion's been operating in Papua New Guinea. It's one of my favourite areas for expedition cruising. It has so much to offer. Just like the Melanesian trips, you're in amongst the villages with the personal relationships that you can build with the people. You have all the extras that Papua New Guinea has to offer, such as the World War II history, the volcanic fjords, more active volcanoes, incredible swimming and snorkeling. There's just so much to offer in Papua New Guinea from an expedition ship like the Orion. Remember, this year, 2013, we only have one season in Papua New Guinea, and that's in March, April. Continuing on from that, we'll travel to the western side of New Guinea through West Papua and Maluku, a true path less travelled. Very, very few people get to travel in that region. The ship will actually cross the equator to Mapia Atoll and continue down through Raja Ampat, one of the most diversified coral areas in the world, before completing the voyage in Darwin. And that brings us through to the Kimberley region in northwestern Australia, probably Australia's greatest region for expedition cruising, and between April and September, Orion will make the Kimberley her home. So much to see and do in the Kimberley. Early in the season, you have all the waterfalls flowing left over from the wet season. As you progress through the years, you have the whale migrations coming up the west coast of Australia. In the area around Camden Sound Marine Park now is recognised as the largest humpback whale migration in the world. Together with Montgomery Reef, the Aboriginal rock art and Raft Point, all of these things make the Kimberley such a great feature. Following on from the Kimberley, we'll continue up into the Spice Islands with a one-off voyage that incorporates the highlights of the Kimberley and some of the best parts of the Spice Islands. You'll get to see the Komodo dragons, buffalo racing in Sumbawa, and the horseback pasola fighting in Sumba, a great add-on to the Kimberley. So coming now into some of the areas that feature some great wildlife, and of course the island of Borneo would be high on many people's lists to visit for the wildlife. Orion has some exclusive voyages in Borneo, particularly in the region around Camp Leakey, where the Orangutan Rehabilitation Centre is. We have exclusive access to the Infant Care Centre there, where you get to interact with the juvenile and infant orangutans yourself. As well as Camp Leakey, there's our Borneo and Borobudur trips, which take us into the centre of Java and up also into Sulawesi, into Tanah Toraja. So you can incorporate the wildlife of Borneo with the culture of the other regions of Indonesia. Both the Camp Leakey trips and the Borneo Borobudur trip offer those cultural and wildlife experiences in that wonderful island archipelago to our north. Now, on both of those itineraries that include Camp Leakey, we're very honoured and privileged to have Dr. Goldakos, the world's renowned expert on orangutans, on board to lecture and guide you through Camp Leakey. So that is an added bonus for both of those different itineraries. We have some themed voyages on offer in the program this year as well. We have a photography expedition running through the Forgotten Islands, which also visits Komodo for the Komodo dragons. We'll have some expert photographers on board, and the lectures and presentations on board will be themed towards photography. As well, we have two food and wine voyages, one on the Great Barrier Reef and one crossing the Tasman Sea between Australia and New Zealand visiting Norfolk Island. We'll have lectures with guest chefs and other presenters, including some of Australia and New Zealand's top winemakers, to enhance the experience on board. And we round the year out with the great Antarctic continent. I'm sure many of you out there would love to do an expedition to the Great Southern Continent, and Orion Expeditions offers two different Antarctic expeditions, the Ross Sea and Commonwealth Bay, both definitely a path less travelled. This gives you the experience on the ice, down in the Southern Ocean, and also incorporates the sub-Antarctic islands, which are famous for its wildlife. If you don't want the full Antarctic experience, you can of course take the sub-Antarctic experiences separately. This introduces you to all the bird life, the marine mammals, without actually going down to the Antarctic continent itself. Well, there you go. There's your insight into Orion Expedition's 2013 exciting calendar of sailing.